There is no one else like Ripple and the Interledger protocol. What does the Interledger protocol mean? How do you link these 8 billion people and their separate payment systems? No doubt about it, those are Interledger protocol and XRP. Watching this video will help you understand why Interledger protocol is so important and how it links to the world's payment systems. Let's start right away. Interledger is a project that we came up with while working at Ripple. It is now its own open source project. Since then, Ripple has paid a group of people to work on it full-time for 2 years, so that we can have payment systems, currencies, and protocols that are best for different use cases. The task is to come up with protocols that let us make payments across those silos. That's what made Ripple want to look into systems like Interledger. To go over this one more time, though, you can only dream about money until it can be used by everyone, which we don't have yet for 2 billion people. Are you sure that's not a big problem? They understand that we need this important level of interoperability, this very basic infrastructure layer that connects M-Pesa to Bank of America and to what's going on in the Japanese banking system. But you don't have that, do you? That's what's stopping an important thing from happening. Also, I believe they all agreed that you need something like the Interledger protocol. That is what Mojaloop is made to do, as well as a lot of other very special technologies that would help developing world governments, banks, and central banks really get ahead. IntelliJR is based on the idea of connectors, which is similar to how the internet is built on routers. If you wanted to see what it looks like, you could draw something like this. They get these things called IntelliJR packets, which are just data packets. Like a router, they look at a routing table. After that, they choose which peer to send the packet to. They might do some things that routers don't. For example, the packet that's coming in has a value on it, and the link where the packet is coming in might be priced in a different currency than the link that's going out, so I have to use an exchange rate. It works a lot like an internet router, except for that one thing. That's where the links are then. Okay, just info is being sent around now, so you might ask, okay, so how does money move? As long as we're only sending info, it's not really. Look at what they have. There is ACH and SEPA, which stands for the Single Euro Payments Area. This is Europe's infrastructure. And the HCH system is funny. I always look at the cases they give, right? Because these are likely real-life examples that they're using to link everything together. Take a moment to listen to what I just said. I likely shouldn't have ended there, but I did want to give you the first piece of information I had. Let me begin right now, while it's still fresh in your mind. Okay, let's just send info around now. So you might ask, okay, so how does money move? If all we do is send data, then it's not really a payment network, is it? It's just another internet, right? Each link keeps track of the packets that have been sent. This is how money is introduced. We say, okay, now these connectors, this one on the left that sent all these packets owes the other connector some money. This is because 100 packets are equal to 10 units. You can pay that other connection in any way that both of you agreed on. So they could use Bitcoin, Lightning Protocol, Ether, or some other currency to send money to each other. If they want to, they could even pay each other in cash. Your choice makes a big difference. If you choose a slower way, like cash, that requires more work, costs more, and has higher transaction costs, you probably won't do it as often. That means you need to trust them a little more. There are, however, ways to settle all the time. If you use a digital asset, such as one with payment methods that let you settle for as little as 1/1000th of a cent, every so often you can settle down. At that point, the faith that is needed is pretty small. We have made a value-based internet with the Interledger system, Ripple software, and XRP. There probably won't be just one blockchain that everyone in the world agrees on. In fact, I think it's almost impossible. There will be different ledgers, blockchains, and networks because that's what they are. In the end, I don't think it makes sense to put the whole world on one blockchain. That's how things are going in the world right now. It's not how I think the world will turn out. In a way, Ripple was the first to think of what are you going to do about that? What are some ways to make different ledgers and payment networks work with each other? So we made a system like TCP/IP for the internet. The Interledger protocol, or ILP, is something that our tech team made. But the idea is that these different networks, blockchain is just one, will work together to move money between networks. For example, ACH is a network that clears checks and moves money within the United States. Visa is also a network. There are many things that can be said about HSBC's banking network. These islands are all there now. You can ask all of these networks to move on the blockchain, of course. After that, they just do the same thing again, but this time on a blockchain. After that,
problems with growth show up very quickly. So the idea is that there should be a standard or procedure that links these value networks or payment networks, just like the internet links data networks all over the world. Indeed, that's what the IntelliJR standard we made is for. It's now open source too. Now it's out there for other people to use, build on, and make better. That being said, it kind of began in Ripple, and that's the whole point, to make these networks. Now the networks can talk to each other, which will bring about the speed and interoperability of value that we say is missing. The interoperability of data is kind of like the third part after the interoperability of things. You need value to be able to work with other values. Just like you need standards for those other things, you need standards for this too, and you should be able to use something like the Interledger system to do it. Is really, really important. Now, here is the nice, pretty world of the future. Everything is linked. We don't need to spend a lot of time on that. Interledger is a lot like how the internet routes bits of data between different computer networks. Little chunks of money are sent from one payment network to another by Interledger. That could be payment channel networks like Lightning, standard banks, mobile money systems, or blockchain networks like Ethereum. This means that Interledger can be used with any kind of payment network to send money packets from one network to another. Through the Interledger Pro, Tokel, any kind of payment network in the world could join to this one. This is how you use Interledger protocol and, of course, XRP to link all of these sideload systems together. That's pretty much how it works, but I want to show you some cool things that you can do with this. So one thing we get to when we use this internet comparison is the idea of streaming funds. This idea of streaming payments could work if payments were broken up into very small pieces, and these pieces could be sent very quickly. That's one of the things that could look like. Do you need to send a bigger payment? Okay, it depends on your payment capacity, which is a strange idea that we work with a lot. That would be the amount of dollars per second that you can send, or any other currency you have. Some cool things that can be done with this are things like streaming media. So today payments are really slow and awkward. Because of this, we like things like regular subscriptions. I don't want to deal with this, so please pay my $10 a month. Some things you could do, like pay for a second movie, would be possible if the payments were very quick and easy. You stream video to me and I stream money to you. If I pause the video, I stop paying for it. I stop if I walk away. It would be that useful if I came back and hit play again, keep streaming money. The idea of sign-up list services is another cool thing that comes from this. When you walk into a store today and want to make a purchase, the normal way things work is for me to give you money, you give me something of value, and I leave. I don't need an account. I don't need to sign up. There is no easy way to do this on the internet these days, so you have to sign up for an account every time. Here's some money, you do some work for me, and then you do it again. If you're a business and run my site or do something similar, you don't need to know who I am, you only need cash. Now, you could let anyone deposit money into your account with something like Interledger, even if they're on a different payment network. That would make sign-up list services possible. Now, the idea of a creative marketplace license is another cool one we've been going over. The idea is that we now have a Creative Commons license, which is great. It's a great project if you want to share your work. One of the problems with Creative Commons is that you can't make money off of your work with an easy-to-use license. With a platform like Interledger, you could have a license that says, feel free to use this content by anyone, but if you want to make money off of each download, view, or other activity, just send me a payment at this address. Today, the idea that anyone could pay you is really missing from this. As of now, there is no way for different payment systems to work with each other. If you made this kind of license, you'd say that anyone with Bitcoin could now pay me, which is a very small group of people. Everything about the internet works because anyone can connect to it. And last but not least, it's fun to note that you can accept payments in strange currencies. If you link all kinds of currencies and payment networks together, you use dollars today because that's what everyone else here does. You could pay with stocks, community cash, or local currency if everything is linked, crypto, or whatever you like. That movie about Interledger Protocol is the best one I've ever seen. Why it's important: the Interledger Protocol acts as a global connector, or the Internet of Value, letting separate networks like banks, blockchains, and payment platforms talk to each other in the same way that the Internet connects different local networks so that information can be shared easily. That is really amazing. Okay, I'm done reading this to you. We just went over it in this film. In fact, this clip of Chris Larson was in this movie. I don't need to play that too. But this video is also great. Interledger Protocol, Stephen Thomas, co-founder of Interledger Protocol and former CTO of Ripple. Pay attention to this. We've set up our technology in a way that makes it easy to send money across borders. Very well done. To solve the sounds.